all nail check. The first thing we're gonna do today is open this. I am about to go into the gym, do my workout, but wanted to talk on here quickly because breakups are in the air right now. Right now in my life, one thing that I will scream from the rooftop, it's gonna sound so like, yeah. I'm so happy that I'm not in a relationship. First of all, y'all don't make it look very fun. Second of all, without these experiences, I would not be who I am today. If I had a boyfriend right now, I also would not be who I am today. Because I feel like I've been having the same conversation kind of with multiple people over the past week. I figured that we should just talk about it because breakups are in the air, and if you're going through a breakup, literal bullet points that I have learned from breakups. Let's start strong. We're just gonna rip the band-aid off. You're not broken up if you're continuing to speak to the person. The only way that you actually break up with someone is if you go no contact. What are relationships built on? Communication. Even if you and homeboy weren't communicating very well, if you guys had never talked to one another, you wouldn't have a relationship. Lack of talking to each other means there's an actual break in the relationship. As soon as you continue to keep talking to someone, you keep letting them in, and you're letting them know that they have access to you. I will hold strong in this because going no contact after a breakup is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for the other person on multiple levels. On a mature level, because it's not easy. There is nothing easy about going no contact with someone, especially someone that you've been romantically, physically, emotionally involved with. Just cutting them off and not speaking to them is one of the hardest things. I know it because I've done it about half a dozen times. Going no contact, from the time that I ended my first relationship, we went no contact. I think that you genuinely, in order to heal fully, you need to be separated from that person for a period of time. Because I've also seen that as soon as you open that door back up, then there becomes the opportunity for a relationship to begin again. The thing is that you need to choose to move on. Just because something is hard doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Going no contact is the #1 rule. On another level, you need to show your ass a bit. I have a different example in here. People are not going to take you seriously if you don't go no contact. Especially men, they're going to know that they still have access to you. If you're still going to let them in, if they can still keep their foot in the door, they know that they still have somewhat of a hold on you because you're not being serious. Unless you have a child with that person and you have to communicate, you're not being serious about the breakup if you won't go no contact and cut it off. And it doesn't mean that you hate the person, that you have to wish they get hit by a car, that you hope they die. It does not mean that. And also, you're not a bitch for going no contact. And I remember that was so hard for me, and that's not true. You're allowed to not speak to someone. If it's not good for you, if it's not healthy for you, and that relationship isn't serving you, you're allowed to heal. I don't know where that came from, but you need to start dating like a man, because you know what a man would do? A man would cut you off, and he wouldn't continue to speak to you. He would go no contact. Taking control of your own world and your own narrative, knowing I'm allowed to do what I want, I'm allowed to not speak to this person, and that doesn't make me a bitch. That doesn't make me a bad person. Another really big thing that I have learned from breakups is that you can love someone and not be in a relationship with them. It's super important that, I mean, in life in general, that we're never just passing through and being passive and, oh, I'm going to college because everyone else is going to college, and then I'm gonna go do this because everyone else is doing this, and not knowing what you're doing. Oh, I'm gonna get in a relationship because all my friends are in a relationship, and I've been with this guy for 3 years and we're happy, but like, you know, I don't know what else is out there, but we're happy, so I'm just gonna stay here. You can love someone and not be with them. If you want different things for yourself, if you recognize that you're starting to have feelings for other people, it's okay. You're allowed to break up amicably. You're allowed to love someone and not date them. And you don't owe people anything to stay in a relationship. That does not serve you. That doesn't serve the relationship, the greater purpose of the relationship. This is the risk that you have taken. When you involve yourself with someone on a deeper level, on an emotional level, even if it's not that, if it's clearly just, or if it's just on a purely physical level where emotions then get involved, that is the risk that you take, is the breakup. Because relationships only end in 2 ways. You stay together forever, or you break up. When people say, I don't date to marry, or I do date to marry, everyone dates to marry. Till death do us part, that is the definition of marriage in this context. When you date, you either get married or you break up. There's no other ending. It's hard because I remember my first breakup and I remember how earth-shattering it was. And breakups are hard for both people. That's something that I don't think we talk about enough. Breakups aren't just hard for the person who gets broken up with. Breakups are hard on both ends of the spectrum. It's the end of a life. Like, it's the end of this life that you created together. It's the end of this future that you at one point in time saw or imagined with this person. When you break up with someone, everyone sees you as the person who, like, wanted it this way. Well, this is what you wanted. Like, you didn't want the relationship anymore. So, like, why are you sad? You don't get to be sad. When you are the person who breaks up, you'll feel like no one is on your side. When it comes between the two of you, people have compassion for the person you broke up with. But because you did the breaking up, like, oh, well, you're fine. Like, that's what you wanted. You're allowed to still have your feelings hurt. You're allowed to still be sad and to still go through the grieving process, and it's hard and it's difficult, and you're allowed to go through the questioning and the second guessing. Don't let people tell you or make you feel like what you're going through isn't justified because you were the one breaking up. Closure. Closure in breakups. You don't need closure. And this is a lesson that I learned so early in life, and I'm so grateful for it when it comes to getting closure. We always want a last conversation. We always want to meet up. We want this last interaction so that we finally feel good. I think that when people think of getting closure on something, it's like, oh, well, now it all makes sense. Now I feel good. Someone else is not responsible for giving you closure. No one, not a single thing that someone could say is going to give you closure. You are responsible for your emotions. You are responsible for your feelings. When it comes to a breakup, we all want this sense of closure. Like, we all want this sense of, oh, well, that's why it ended. You're broken up, you drive away, you're separated, and it's like, oh, I don't really feel that good. Why didn't they say this? I wanted them to say this. And I think that the reason that we lack closure in a lot of situations is because we had an expectation and it wasn't met. We went into a conversation maybe with low expectations. Maybe our expectations were on the floor, but this person didn't meet those. They didn't meet those. They didn't say something. So then you feel like there's this unmet need. No one else is going to give you closure. You are responsible for going through the grieving process and healing yourself. You are the one who gives you closure. Please, please, please do not get yourself caught up in the mess of, oh, well, let's meet for coffee, or I want closure. I wanted to talk about this. No one else is responsible. And I'm talking to myself right now. No one else is responsible for saying something that's going to make you feel better. It's your job to understand those parts of yourself, understand why they don't feel met or fulfilled, and then do your best to give yourself closure. It's not someone else's job to say those things to you to make your process easier. It's going to be hard and it's going to suck. I've had a couple of different breakups, one specifically, and the time period for this one was so dumb, like a complete stranger in my life. And when it ended, we were together for half of the amount of time or maybe a third of the amount of time that it took me to get over the entire situation. It hurt so bad, and this person was so damaged, and this person had gone through so much. I felt like it was my job to fix it, or my job to show them that they could be loved. This is what love feels like, and I'm gonna show it to you because I rock. I'm gonna make your life a million times better. You'd be an idiot to walk away. And he treated me very poorly. I ended the relationship. It took me almost a year to get fully over it. I'm so grateful for that experience, because if I didn't have that experience, I would not be sitting here today. Would not be sitting here in my new car, about to restart my life, move across the country. I have all of these things going for me, and I truly believe that if I had let that relationship take over my life, I would not be here today. And the breakup sucked, and it was terrible. It sucked and it was terrible, and I only say all of that to say that if the breakup is hard, just saw this quote, the greatest in us is measured by the worst that we can endure. If you are a young woman and you go through a breakup that is so terrible, I promise you, if you can do the work and if you can dig deep within you and go through the grieving process, feel the pain, Feel how difficult it is. It's going to get better. The harder the breakup, the greater the reward. You'll be hotter, you'll be more successful, you'll be funnier, you'll be more fun to be around. If you go through the terrible breakup now, the other side, the sun shines so much brighter. I know it sucks right now, and it's allowed to suck, but don't you dare suffer and fall victim to that. Take control of your life, take control of your emotions, let yourself feel, but then get back on your feet, get up, and do it again. Learn how to be alone. In the breakup process, when you go through all of that and you can learn to be alone, I promise you that will be your greatest strength. You will be able to use that to your advantage now and for the rest of your life. We can go through all of that a little bit more in depth at a later date. My heart is with you. I love you. We're going to Texas next week. Next week's video is going to be going to Texas and apartment hunting. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, @PresleyMadeIt. Love you. I'm gonna go sprint now and listen to this song.